Keith Pompey, the man with the plan on the scene from Memphis, as the 76ers now fall to 2-12. Keith, thanks for getting up on short rest here. What's going on, man?
No, what's good? How you doing? Hope you're doing better than the Sixers this morning.
Well, if you would have watched the first 20 minutes it's probably why I was sending you your own email address as opposed to the link for the interview. No, I my head exploded because it's one thing to lose, and the Grizz they were shooting the lights out early last night. And I'm going to start with the Embiid stuff right away, and I want your take on it because I haven't talked to you about it. But I guess it gets out that Maxey, they call a team meeting. Maxey steps up and says something to Joel about being late for everything, according to Shams. And first time you hear from Embiid afterwards, he says whoever leaked it is a piece of bleep. And, well, I more or less the same thing that you always hear is that, well, I'm Joel Embiid, so yeah, I'll be better. I have to be better. I just wanted to hear a message was received to where he took it with maturity. And I felt like he was going to respond, and not respond right away because he's mad that word got out there, that he really took it to heart and wanted to improve as a leader on the team. After hearing how he reacted after the game, I don't feel that way, Keith. So did you think the whole meeting was blown out of proportion, which is what Lou Williams was saying yesterday? Have you heard these things previously about Joel being late for everything? And just overall, what is your whole feeling on the situation?
No, I don't think it was blown out of proportion at all. I feel like that what happens is, something gets out, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like damage control. I wasn't there. Gina Mizell made this trip. But when I talked to people about it afterwards, they basically said they heard the same thing, like sources. That was what was relayed to them as well. So, I mean, it's one of those things. I think what happens is you have a meeting. You don't want you don't want the details of the meeting to get out. Now, again, Joel is right. That is one of many things they talked about. But at the same time, everyone is looking at Joel differently than they did before, right? Now, in regards to Joel being late for stuff, yeah, I mean, that's his MO. The joke is whenever Joel didn't play games, we were kind of sort of like, okay, we're going to get out of the locker room a whole lot sooner, quicker. You know what I mean? It was like one of those things. Like
right.
The team plane was going to leave earlier than it normally does because Joel isn't playing. So to me, the thing is, none of this stuff is the fact that Maxey said it to him is the thing that makes you say, wow, Maxey said it. But the fact that somebody's saying, yo, Joe, you're late for everything, you need to be a little bit more accountable, is not surprising because, he's the star player. They typically wait for him. They do whatever he does. They get to do whatever they want. But you are correct. And I do think that a lot of the message that was yesterday, and I read the articles and I read everything and I saw what Lou Will said, is kind of sort of a little bit of damage control. They may argue, but, you got to realize these people are friends of Joel. Joel knows that, he has Philadelphia eating out the palm of his hands. And now all of a sudden he's being criticized for his actions. So I feel like a lot of this is damage control.
Yeah, I don't think that Maxey kicked open the door to the locker room and went over and started choking Joel and said, you SOB, you're late for everything. But Kyle Lowry calls the meeting. Maxey, at least part of the meeting was that. And when Shams reports it, it can't be blown out of proportion. He's the number one insider in the NBA. It would be like Adam Schefter reporting Jalen Hurts was late and Devontae Smith stepped up and talked about it in a team meeting. That's not blown out of proportion, Keith. It's one of the biggest stories in sports, as this was. And I saw no other player comment from it. I didn't hear players coming out saying, hey, this is blown out of proportion. This isn't a big deal at all. Nobody said that. Nobody said Joel's not late for anything. This is BS. So here's the next part of it. And I don't like the reaction I saw from Embiid after the game. It's problematic. And here's why. When he says whoever leaked it's a piece of bleep. So who do you think leaked it? Right? I mean, you can say if you want where you think it came from. I'll say where I think it came from. I think it was from the 76ers in a last gasp effort to try to get this guy to understand, to shame him, to get him to respond. So if he believes that, and like he's not stupid. If he believes that, what do you think this does for his relationship with the 76ers? I can tell you what it does. The beginning of the end. This isn't Allen Iverson back in 2000 when they almost traded him to Detroit and he responded. Joel Embiid is not Allen Iverson, Keith. This is 2024. This is not almost 25 years ago. This is the beginning of the end. If the Sixers leaked it and Embiid believes that, this is a big problem because this, like you had said, everybody now looks at Joel Embiid. It's been confirmed. You're lazy. You don't show up on time. And this is the reason why the 76ers are losing. And you know what? I can't argue with it. He's been the constant. It hasn't been a lack of talent for a lot of these years. He's been the constant. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, the thing is about him being the end is near. The only problem that they have is this guy just signed a 3-year. Excuse me?
Well, I would say I know he can't be signed. He can't be traded during the season. After the season.
Yeah. Afterwards, the only problem though is kind of like with his injury history right now. Now you can still trade him, but what are you going to get back of equal value? That's the only problem. So basically, you're basically saying, hey, Maxey, Jared McCain, we're just going to have to get a bunch of role players to go with you or something like that to make this work, right? And you got to find the right team. But see, here's something else, and you are correct. I do believe that's what it was. I mean, when we look at the Sixers in the past, at one point, it was Ben Simmons' problem, right? He was the problem. Then all of a sudden, it became Tobias Harris couldn't live up to the contract. It was Matisse Thybulle couldn't guard anyone. I mean, couldn't make any offense, couldn't score any baskets. So there was always different things. And now you look at it and it's like, well, who else are you going to blame? You can't blame anyone else. And then you look around and the constant through all that stuff was Joel Embiid. So with that being said, yeah, I think what it was is it was like an effort. They had an effort out there to basically say, look, we're going to try to embarrass this guy. We're going to put it out there just so hopefully he can walk right. He can become humbled and he can do what he wants. And the thing is, it's kind of like, and I understand why I can understand why he's a little bit upset, because you're looking at it and we're saying ourselves, like, if this guy has been here since 2014, 15, and we all know that he's been in control of whatever he wants to do since that particular time, and then now all of a sudden we're bringing it up, right? We're bringing it up, and he could be like, yo, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. Why are you trying to make me the scapegoat now, right? So I can see that. But at the same time, I can see why they're doing that, because he is the best player on the team, and you have to be held to a higher standard. Like, what do we hear about Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe was the guy who was the hardest working guy in the gym. He didn't go out and he did anything. Joel, from what I hear, he doesn't go out either. He's a family man, but right. He was the hardest. I mean, Kobe was the hardest worker. The same with Michael Jordan. The same with all these greats who led their teams. So they didn't show up late. They showed up early. They stayed late. So with that being said, you have to do a last ditch effort to try to get him on board. But what it also shows, John, is how this team, I'm not saying they're quite panicking, but everything isn't calm. Everything isn't roses, like where they're confident that they can turn it around.
They're desperate. This was a desperate move by the Sixers to leak it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Desperate. But look, I will say this. Now, a lot of people, Maxey was asked about this situation on Tuesday after Tuesday's practice. And this is a quote that I saw. He said, "I felt the need to do that because I wanted to share that we are better than what we have shown on the floor." on his stepping up, right? So you know what I mean. So it's kind of like from my understanding, he didn't deny that he said what he said. He didn't acknowledge what he said, but he basically said, I felt the need to do that because I wanted to share that we are better than what we have shown on the floor.